this going to bother you if I have any of this at any point?
Have any of what?
A little Canaba bush.
The what bush?
If I smoke anything.
Oh, I don't care.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to. I don't. We haven't been. So
No, do you, man? I appreciate you checking in, though.
Yeah, totally. Because some people are. I have a drummer friend who's like, I love him dearly, but he's allergic to cats. I have 2 large cats. So we get down here, he starts snizzling.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's not like he's trying to sneeze. It's
No,
just...
he doesn't want to sneeze. I mean, if it was up to him. I had so much going on. I had a big computer update I had to do. So this computer was not on Windows 11, which I guess is the newest one. And it was telling me that I couldn't upgrade to Windows 11 because I didn't have a security processor. Turns out none of that was true. I just had to do a firmware update on my motherboard.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I saved myself thousands of dollars.
Dude, that's beyond. I can't even get a laptop to last me over a year without getting a virus.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
That's hard because there's so much. Most of it's viruses now.
It is viruses.
Out there, they're doing viruses.
And I don't even download so I've had 2 laptops, and I never touched them with piracy, whether it be of movies, songs, or pornography. And yet still they crashed within a year, and it was thousands of dollars wasted. So it has been a huge problem not having a laptop that I can depend on to kind of grow.
And it's got to that point, like, we're similar enough in age that you and I grew up in a time where they were training us to try to be good on those. And now people don't even, that's a specialized thing. So it got computers used to be, you had to be the computer guy to even know about a computer. And then everyone kind of was interacting with computers. And now it's if it's not on my phone, it must not be important. And so I have people I work for that I just do computer stuff for. They're I need to use this portal to fill out this application. I don't know how to do it and stuff like that. So it's we're in this spot. We know too much. Guys, welcome back to Jacob V Weekly. We want to start like we do every week by reminding you to check out Caddyshack of Hamel, Illinois. Save a life or 9. My very special guest today goes by the stage name Poopyknife. Yeah. Can I call you Kyle in conversation?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Also, I didn't mean to, when you were talking about the computer thing, I didn't mean to just wane on that.
I just always like to warm up with I like to do some kind of a cold open. And so that's cool. Why you saw me looking at this, why I have Task Manager open is just, just for example, you can't see this on camera in the room, but I have all my guitar cases out here because a big shelf full of paint fell over in my coal box yesterday when I was looking for a guitar case. So we're living the dream. It's guerrilla media, baby. And that's actually a great part of what I want to talk to you about we have some mutual friends. You are a good acquaintance, friend of my dear brother Clay, who's on this show a lot. People on the show know Clay.
Yeah, Clay's a delight.
Yeah, he's a sweet man. He's a gentle boy.
Anyone would say so.
Almost anyone. And no, I can't think of anyone that wouldn't.
Not almost anyone.
It's absolutely anyone. And so one of the things that came across our conversation is I think we were with our mother, and I saw on TikTok or something somebody had posted a video of you playing guitar out in the community, and they had hashtagged it St. Louis, so that I knew immediately that, that has to be Clay's friend Poopyknife out there in the streets spreading the music. And so I thought it could be a nice, in these trying times for our nation, I thought it'd be nice to focus more so on creation and performance and positivity and whatnot. Now, the other day, I saw you playing your guitar on Broadway, like we talked about. We don't have to dox anybody here, so we'll just say Broadway.
Yeah.
Amongst other Broadway touches a lot of things. And so I guess lately, as you've been sharing your gift with the community, can you talk to me about that part of it first? And then I kind of want to reverse engineer some of the other stuff. So what I'd love to talk about is when you're out there by yourself with your guitar, what is the Like, what's kind of the message or the goal that you're choosing to set it up and do it all yourself that way?
A message.
Or goal.
I don't know. So the goal is, I don't know. I've never really thought about like a goal. It's just, you ever just have not enough. So I don't have enough to do.
Yeah.
And I get really antsy and itchy, and I've hit a lot of dead ends trying to play or perform in other ways.
Yeah.
In a proper venue.
Right.
And to no avail. So I figure just playing on the street, like no one can kind of close me down or say that I can't.
There's no middleman. There's no in the way.
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, I suppose every once in a while you get a Karen or a cop that comes by and... Actually, you know what? I won't throw the cops under the bus, even though that's kind of counter to my general attitude. But there's only ever been one cop
that really had a problem with you.
That really had a problem, and it was a whole thing. But most cops, when they drive by, either ignore me or throw horns. So even if I don't have the cops back, they have mine. But I'm out there basically because I've hit a lot of dead ends, and I'm not gonna not perform.
Yeah.
And that is also true in other forms of performance. Like I did, so during COVID was a big dead end for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons.
That's why we started this show. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's what you were telling me. And anyway, I was wrestling at the time, and I was having a lot of frustrations with that avenue of performance and whatever you want to call it. And COVID was really the kicker, and I did a wrestling show on top. So I was living with Kai at the time, actually. Yeah. We both know Kai.
Yeah, he's been on the show before. The night before Clay's wedding, we did a podcast with Kai.
Oh, sick. I'll have to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'll send it to you.
So I used to live with him, and his garage behind his apartment is vast and flat. And it faces the alley, which faces several balconies of neighbors. And so I did a wrestling show versus a vacuum cleaner to a very private, selective audience of that vicinity, and that was really cool and well received. But yeah,
well, and so innovative in that time to be like, none of my potential audience can get any closer to me, so why don't I do something that they could just see from their homes without having to be glued to their screen?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And putting it in a small audience like that, I used to think, oh, there's not enough people here or whatever, and now I'm like, my new thing is, like, I've done a couple shows at, like, Marshmallow, like, small.
I was there last night.
And we used to do Cicero's, used to be a place.
I remember Cicero's.
And that back room there, small. And
well, intimate.
Yeah. And I mean small in that way of, like, 30 people, and, like, it looks worth it. You know what I mean? Because they're filling enough of the space.
Right.
And so I love that idea. Did you do like the South Broadway Athletic Club like wrestling thing?
Dude, no. I tried many times, and there's a lot of reasons why that didn't happen.
I love that. Is there because I remember some of that. I had done actually like my last gig right before lockdown, other than I was playing every Friday at the Casino Queen, was we did the band scramble thing that they did there. And it was something they wanted to bring back, but then we shut down for a couple of years, so we didn't do all that. But so you started off in the garage, performing for the neighbors.
Well, I was on the garage, on top of the garage.
On the garage?
Yeah, on top of the garage.
That's why you said flat. I'm like, flat?
Yeah, well, he had a flat, the roof of the garage was flat, and you get on top there with a ladder. And I actually had a buddy of mine, his name is, his stage name is Google Plexia. He's an accordion guy, and he also announces actual wrestling. And he like commentated on it on a frickin' amplifier so that all the neighbors could hear it. It was awesome. And a lot of those neighbors, I don't even know if they were wrestling fans or not, but they just happened to live around, and they were just like wanting to do something.
There's a show going on in the backyard. We don't have to watch Tiger King again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, I put like flyers up just all around the block of like a frickin' MANNEQU versus the Vacuum. That was my wrestling name, MANNEQU. And anyway, so the Keytar thing is kind of similar, minus COVID, where I'm just going to do it, and it's going to cast an awfully wide net because people that drive past or walk past might not be a part of the music scene, but they're exposed to me anyway, and they might become music fans, or a lot of them may become less of music fans. I don't know.
Yeah, conversion is such a conversation I love to have with people that are independent artists, especially locally, because it's the world I've lived in. I chose not to move away. I'm from St. Louis originally. So the conversation becomes, well, how can I bring, maybe people, there's millions of people that live here that have never been to a late night local rock show, like at a club or a bar or something. And so the idea that I don't need them to do something they're not used to doing, I can bring the art to them in a way that, you know, you're definitely, you're seeing more faces than you were even if you were playing on stage every evening.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
If I choose the correct intersection
yeah.
at the correct hour, I get about, I mean, they're only exposed to me for a glimpse, but I can get about, like, you know, 200 people driving past me in an hour, and that's pretty swill. Like, as opposed to playing at a local venue, and no shade on local venues, like we
need them.
We need them. Sometimes though, there's a lot of people that are not aware of them that would be interested in them, but for some reason they're just out of the scene, you know, so they don't really know about it. There's a lot of people that don't know about Platypus or Marshmallow, and so if I play at a venue like that, which I would like to, and I have, but sometimes, yeah, the crowd is a bit sparse. Well, and not that I'm ungrateful or anything.
At most, you can only do local clubs every 4 to 8 weeks on that spectrum.
Yeah, that is another thing, is if you are consistently doing those clubs, people begin to kind of take it for granted. They're like, oh, I saw that guy like a week ago. And
you know, I've done so many shows at the Heavy Anchor. It's like one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
And, but if you've seen me at the Heavy Anchor once, it's going to be harder to convince you to drive all the way down there to see me again.
Exactly.
Especially if you live in St. Peter's or, you know, Arnold or whatever the people are doing now.
Yeah.
That's not my reality, but we need them. And that's been the thing too. It's like, part of doing this podcast was I need a reason to check in with whatever my audience is every week. And then if people like the podcast, that could bring them to the music I already have released or keeps them updated on upcoming shows. But it's not like they have to come out and pay a cover every time they want to support me. There's other ways to do it. So, and we're going to do a performance today. So if you're not sure what Kylo's talking about when he's on these intersections, drumming up this business, you're going to find out today. But can you talk to me about that selection process a little bit? I got the idea that different intersections at different times of day are more ideal than others.
Yeah.
And so, like, let's start with the good ones.
Okay, the good ones. The best one around here has been in front of Mokabee's.
Great spot.
It's on South Grand and Arsenal. Mm-hmm. And that was... I say was because I don't play it as much anymore, but that was the best spot because that's the most... Because also, not only are you aiming for a lot of traffic, but I've noticed that there's a certain crowd, there's a certain kind of people over in the Tower Grove area that are more open to silliness, I suppose, as opposed to... if I was in a part of town that was a bit more rigid and straight-laced or just not used to that kind of thing, and they'll, you know, there's other areas that will just flat out ignore you and I feel like I'm wasting my time. But South Grand and Arsenal was really good because it is a very heavy traffic intersection and people are usually very positively receiving it. However, I don't do that spot nearly as often anymore, which is a drag. But it is because it is within direct earshot of a therapy office. It's right above Mokabee's, actually. Oh. And I've gotten, they've reached out to me a number of times being like, hey, love what you're doing, love it, but we're trying to iron out childhood trauma over here, and what you're doing kind of clashes with that. Could you not? And I will abide by that. I usually, if someone tells me to shoot...
especially if they're polite.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not cussing at you, they're not shooting at you. Have you ever been shot at? Performing?
Not performing.
Okay. You don't have to tell me about it if it's not that. But.
I mean, I would tell you about it, but it's not relevant. Anyway, I don't usually abide when people are like, hey, shoo, unless they have a good reason. And that was a good reason, so I don't play that intersection nearly as often. Sometimes I'll do it on a Sunday because I understand they're not working during
probably
that
not
day.
Saturdays after noon either.
Right.
That's a great one. And like you said, I love that you mentioned, like, of course, physically the location is ideal for visibility and adjacent to things people are already going to do. But also you mentioned that's a great intersection to find people that would enjoy stumbling upon you.
Yeah.
Because that's so important. It's not just, oh, this bar and grill is going to let me play, so I'm going to play there. It's also identifying, this is a place where there's going to be people already that would like to see me, even if they don't already know about it. Like, the people that are really going to be cranky about a guy playing keyboard on the side of the road are probably some of the same people that are not interested in driving through Grand and Arsenal on a regular basis.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's like a fun area,
It's
right?
a fun area. And
There's
if you're
the
down
park
there,
and-
you don't mind a little petty crime to get some international cuisine.
Right.
And whatnot. I tell people all the time, I pay the 1% earnings tax for living in the city so I can get stabbed in the neck on the Metrolink.
That's accurate. This balance is key.
But I need flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, if
The
it was
spice.
if the Stepford wives out here, we would. Who cares? It would be a waste of bricks. Is what it would be.
Amongst other things.
Amongst other things, what would the police be doing? Then they'd start getting on your nerves.
Yeah,
I
they
think
would.
that's the thing too. When you were saying that the police are typically pretty supportive and they'll throw you the horns or whatever, is I think they're just so grateful that you're out there performing and not trying to throw a keytar through a window at somebody. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They would rather see people on the street doing something creative or engaging or positive than the usual stuff they actually have to do.
Maybe. I'm not sure what they want. I don't really know what, because I find that a lot of cops do not have a sense of humor whatsoever. So I do get a little nervous when when I see one drive past, even though it hasn't really been an issue. I'm like, so like there was one time I was kind of further down South Grand, not on Arsenal, but further down South Grand. And a cop drove by and threw on the whoop whoop, and it, like, a chill ran up my spine, just out of anxiety because I've had experiences in the past that were less than ideal, and so I'm like, great. And it's not that they have anything on me, but still, like, the reaction is just reacting to
you don't
old memories.
to be put on the spotlight like that. It's like, I don't think I was doing anything wrong, but what's he gonna?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she freaking throws on the whoop whoop, and I'm like, great. And sure enough, out the window, she's like, yeah, go you, rock on. Well, she doesn't even realize that sound that she's like from her car like is a sound of terror.
Yeah.
So mixed signals is kind of what I get.
You would think, because a lot of them. A lot of police officers have told me different things about. I work in schools, so I'll interact with police that are working, events or working the campus or whatever, and kids will say things like, "Oh, show us this or do that or whatever," and they're very conservative about it because they don't want to escalate anybody or make anybody think that they're being targeted or whatever. Those police officers are probably trained to be more sensitive because they work in those environments, but But yeah, you would think you wouldn't just want to throw on the boop boop if.
Usually, when they do that, they're about to give somebody a ticket or arrest somebody.
They're trying to get somebody for something.
Usually, it's not you're giving props.
Well, and so you would think she would think, oh, somebody might shoot at me if I do that.
Someone might shoot at her.
Yeah.
At the cop.
Well, because unintentionally, like not because she was doing something to them, but like if somebody's nearby that is an armed criminal, and she does that playfully, they might not know it's playful. They might think they're getting got.
Right, I sure didn't think it was playful.
No, right. Well, I certainly don't think you did.
Because it never is.
But anybody nearby would assume it's not, and that could escalate a conflict that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
But it's also a mixed bag because it's nice that she's supporting the...
Right, yeah, to her credit, she was, like, throwing horns or, like, giving props or whatever.
Yeah, she enjoyed it. And that's the thing you'll notice, too, is, like, people in those roles that are going to be the most polite, or they have a friend or a brother, or they used to play an instrument, or somebody that's into like live music. Those people typically show out, and like when I have like the gas company come by here or the cable company, there's always going to be one of them that says, "Oh, can I look at your guitars?" And they're always super nice, and they just want to talk about them.
Yeah.
And then other times guys will come through here and they blow in and out and they don't ask me anything. So it's just funny how that shows up. It's such an important part to tap into about the an audience too, is like and Drogo and I talked about this when he was on the show, that your number one audience are going to be people that share an affinity for your instrument or your art form.
Right.
And so trying to target and identify sounds malicious. Those people is super effective. Probably necessary. Now, social media wise, do you live stream at all when you're doing that?
Occasionally, but it seems
more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, because like it overheats my phone because my phone's crappy,
and you're outside in the sun.
And and when you freaking live stream, you only get like I'm grateful for every fan that I have, but if it is like destroying my phone and I only have like. When you go live, you don't get many people viewing.
No, of course.
You get like 4, maybe.
We used to do this show live, and I said, it's for the handful of people that are actually watching it live, it's a better product if we just pre-record it.
It absolutely is. And I like doing things live, but it's just the technology or the algorithm or whatever the heck.
Yourself, it can't get in the way of the performance.
Right.
Because that defeats the purpose of the live stream. If you can maintain the integrity of the performance to commit it to a live stream, that's great. But if you end up babysitting the live stream instead of...
You know what it kind of does feel like? There's like, hey, is anybody watching?
Is this thing working? Even if it's working, then it turns into, is anybody on here? What am I doing?
Right. In which case, I'll just kind of perform... Like, I perform on my own without... Just for myself often. But, like, I don't need the phone on for that. The less time the phone on, the better.
Yeah. I live streamed music trivia last night with one of these extra phones. Just because I had written all the questions myself, so it wouldn't be a copyright issue. And I have a Patreon for the show to sort of... and so what I do is I put all of, like, my live shows and stuff that I record, I put them up there as, like, a... to give people access who are paying to support the podcast or whatever. But but the live stream part is just, like, not as important. Like, a really young audience... is more prone to the live stream thing, but posting the content after it's perfect is...
You get a lot more views that way.
I think it's just way more effective.
It is.
Unless you're really good at the live stream and it's a big part of your thing, but most of the people actually using the bandwidth for live streaming now is like all the apps have like QVC people now. They're like... TikTok's the worst because they have the TikTok shop. So people will like live stream and be like, buy this... phone or whatever, and
I don't even F with TikTok for real.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is so too, and so you have some music that you've previously released, and some music videos. Those would be on like YouTube.
They would be on the tube, correct?
And artist name is Poopyknife.
One word.
As one word.
Yes.
I needed to ask you that for later too, for the title of the episode and whatnot.
Do not separate the poop from the knife.
Do not separate the poop from the knife. That's very German. Germans have really long words because if it's one idea, it should be one word, and they'll put like 5 words together.
That's why their language is so hilarious.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And then we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Somebody did an impression of the president, but in German, and it sounds exactly like Jabba the Hutt. Apparently,
of course it does.
In the new Mandalorian movie,
the new Star Wars.
There's the new Star Wars. There's a Hutt battle. Like he fights.
He fights the Mandalore, right?
Right, but it's not Jabba the Hutt, I don't think.
No, it's Jabba's kid.
Yeah, and but this is the first time we've ever seen. Now I want to go see it, just because I found out that scene is in there. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so we're gonna talk Star Wars now.
Yeah, we can Star Wars.
Okay,
this is a Star Wars friendly platform.
Frickin' the Star Wars has like broke my heart multiple times over the years.
Clay was just telling me about this on our last episode.
Just like shattered me, so I'm pretty not into it anymore these days. But I do kind of pay attention when a new thing pops up and enough people that I trust give it the thumbs up, then I'll check it out.
Well, and this is what Disney should have done with the IP is beta test a little bit of their concepts in episodical form and then run the features on the ones that work. You know what I mean? They did 3 seasons of Grogu and the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And on an episodical form, they've ironed out a lot of things. They had a lot of positive feedback, and then they said we can come back with this with a feature, and it opened up the scope for them and the budget to do things like the Hutt battle that they had never done in the IP before.
Yeah.
IP is intellectual property. We're industry insiders.
Right.
So we use acronyms.
We're IIs.
Yeah, we're IIs, and we're talking about
I's.
IPs.
Uh-huh.
And so that was a thing, like even the CGI Luke Skywalker when he comes to pick up the Grogu and like the return of Boba Fett and whatnot, like all that stuff, I thought they pulled it off. And things like they did it backwards. What was the Rogue One?
Yeah, I saw that.
I liked Rogue One a lot.
Yeah, I saw that. That was cool. I saw...
There were no Jedis in it.
Right. And there doesn't need to be, because there's a lot of other stuff going on in that world.
And that whole movie was, they took one line of dialogue from the original.
Many Bothans died for this information or whatever the heck.
Yeah, and they turned it into a feature-length film that was not a waste of my time. I even enjoyed Solo. I can understand why people didn't like Solo.
That is trash, bro. That was trash.
I saw it in the theater one time.
I don't even know why I was... Dude, I regrettably saw all of the 20-teen Star Wars movies in theaters. I don't know why I wound up seeing Solo, because I don't remember being stoked about that at all. I must have gotten like a free ticket or something. But man, that was garbage. If you liked it, great. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm
not going to defend it.
It's literally just a movie.
But that was the one where I was like, okay, they could really shit the bed on this.
And then they did.
Yeah.
Stewing in it.
And we don't have to go title by title necessarily, but that's part of the space that's so overwhelming is anything anyone has ever liked, there's tens of hours of now. And so doing this show or making clips of this show or putting out, I put out a music video I made myself last year and whatever. And it's like looking at like how to get more eyes on that, like we were talking about earlier, when you're competing with not just people have movies and people have music and people have radio or whatever, but it's
competing with the entire internet.
Any IP,
unfathomably large,
and because the corporations are also filling the internet with stuff too. So it used to be like, oh, I watched this show online. Actually, I don't watch TV on that night or whatever.
Right.
Now it's everybody has that version. Every news segment from the day is going to be on YouTube by that evening, and all that stuff. So, what is some of the stuff that you put out there already that we could send people to immediately? So Poopyknife has some music videos for songs that also were probably on some streaming platforms.
Yeah, there's I think they're on Bandcamp. And I need to check that in. So, man, I need to do some editing. They're under an EP's name that I thought was funny at the time. But unfortunately, is like people think I'm like the scatological guy. People are always sending me like poop memes and everything like that. The name of the EP is 3-Piece Poot, which I desperately need to change. There's 3 songs on it. And I'm pretty sure it's on Bandcamp. And then 2 of those songs are accompanied by music videos, and they are on the tube. One of them is called Furryphobic, and the other one is called Addicted to Pee.
And then, so, did you produce those videos entirely yourself?
Yeah, I did. I funded them and directed them, and I guess that's what... Did you mean... Is that what you mean by produce? Produce means you put the money up, right?
Well, sure, or just getting it done. I mean, so getting the money from one place to another is definitely important, but also, I didn't know if you shot it yourself, or you hired somebody.
I hired somebody.
Did you do the editing?
I overlooked the editing.
Yeah.
If I had the technology to edit myself, I would, but I don't. So I hovered and micromanaged my good friend Chris Bauer while he sat in his captain's chair and did all the clicking. I just kind of directed him.
I'm gonna pull thumbnails of those to put on the screen in post. That's why I was making a note. So genre-wise, I guess we can have that conversation. So we know the instrument is guitar. We know, there's vocals, tracks at all?
Yeah, so you mean like layers?
Yeah, like when you perform live, we haven't covered exactly yet. Like, do you put, are there tracks going live, or is it all happening?
Yeah, I would like to get to that point. There's reasons why I don't, and they're not great reasons. I have a bare bones setup, and that is because I really don't know in what direction to seek a proper looper, or any other doohickey to which I don't even know what to call exactly.
Because you have some options, and so there's going to be some choices that have to be made.
Right. Like, I would like to get something that can produce a beat while I'm going, some other bells and whistles, but I'm kind of limited to physical space, for one thing, and I just have... I don't know if I have ADD or ADHD or whatever the heck, but...
I think it's one thing now, and they call it either the hyperactive implementation or the inattentive implementation.
I think mine is maybe inattentive.
You venture off psychologically.
Yeah, I do.
I do that constantly.
And, like, I have a bunch of ideas, and none of the ideas are things that I can, sit and do on my own. They either require skills that I don't have, or funds that I don't have at the moment, or space that I don't have, so that I just kind of feel stuck. And so that's why I just have the keytar and just a little battery-powered amp.
That's why all this junk is down here, because it was like starting my career and like, okay, I want to make songs and everything that goes along with them, and I don't want to just spend money per hour at like a studio.
Right. No, that's...
all you have is whatever you can get done and whatever. You can't stay up all night in somebody else's studio when you're paying by the hour.
Right.
But then I also had to learn a lot of this stuff, which means I've also released a lot of stuff that doesn't sound or look as perfect as I would like because I wanted to get it done. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a huge part of the thing. So when you perform live, say, at the intersection or wherever you end up that day, it's mostly what you can create live right then.
Yeah, that on the street is improv.
Yeah.
Basically, that's me practicing.
Yeah. Is there a set list really at all when you do? Are you like working out a set or something, or is the whole performance mostly improv and maybe some of your source material weaves in and out?
On the street, it's all improv. There's no actual songs that I play because it's useless to play a full song with an audience that's just going...
Yeah. You're more so saying, in the moment, any given snapshot, this is what Poopyknife is and sounds like and looks like and does. And I think that's so important. Because that's really what you're doing on social media as well. As like people are swiping by sometimes quicker than they would be driving. And so trying to encapsulate in a beat the vibe is sort of your best friend if you're trying to drum up that business.
Yeah, and that's another... God, I hate social media so bad. It's like, when you get this, you have to... Because you're thinking about people just like mindlessly swiping, you have to get their attention immediately, and so you have to stuff as many like attention-grabbing tactics. And because I don't have big fat tits or anything like that, it can be very trying to find ways to get people's attention. So the shredding that I do is effective. It is also largely effective in which the setting where I'm in, there has to be like an interesting place that I'm standing.
You're interacting with it.
Yeah.
Like it's a part of the instrument or something.
Which
almost.
has very little to do with the music itself.
Right.
So yeah, it's very frustrating.
That's what frustrates me about if your idea is I'm a musician, I'm a performer, and I want to perform, like we were talking about before, just forcing whatever you want to perform into an environment that's not expecting it doesn't really make any sense. And it's the same way with, why would I try to recreate a song that has all these different tracks and whatnot in an environment that's not even expecting it? You know what I mean? It's better to just deliver the whole thing. And I've done that too. I've done shows where, normally people would call it like an acoustic approach. Like my ideal format is probably a band with drums, bass, keyboard, and guitar and vocal, right? That's probably what I'm the most used to.
Yeah.
That's an expensive and loud and laborious enterprise. So there's times where I still want to play my electric guitar, but it's just me and my electric guitar. It's not me and my electric guitar and 10 other things. And when you're doing that, you're also trying to feel for, what does this space need? Am I going to play my loudest, heaviest thing at the gramophone on a Sunday afternoon? Probably not. Unless, for some reason, they're all there. You know what I mean? And that's the vibe. And so you're responding to the environment which is how music always was up until like 40 years ago. You know what I mean? Or whatever. The further down the line we got into the recorded music business, it became so much less about the performance. Where really it used to just be a snapshot of the performance.
And then you had like music videos in the 80s or even early 70s that kind of came around, and from what I understand, there was a lot more focus on the visual aspect because that was like a commercial package.
Yeah.
And that kind of sells you the band, like what they look like. Are they hot? Are they colorful? Are they energetic? Like, where are they? Are they interesting?
Yeah.
And like you can listen to Van Halen, right? And know that they're all of those things, right? They're hot and they're energetic and they're awesome. And that was like 1977 where music videos were around, but not like a mainstream thing. And then like the 80s hit, and it was all about like catching people's visual attention, and that kind of reflects where we are now.
Yeah, a great example is "Separate Ways" by Journey. "Separate Ways" by Journey is.
Wait, was that one of their good songs or the?
Yeah, it's a good one. No, that's a good one.
Journey, I'm so polarized on Journey.
Well, this is part of the reason why. If you just listen to "Separate Ways," or it's in a movie, or it's
that's the one that's like someday love
will find
that's
you.
A whip ass fucking song.
Okay,
Yes.
so that song rocks.
Yes, it
that
does.
video sucks. That video, they're on a dock, at like a harbor, and they're just kind of singing at the camera and kind of posing and being real serious. One, totally shit the bed on this. It's daytime. That is not a daytime song.
I get that. I've worked out in the day to that, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You could use that song in the daytime, but if you're creating a perfect commercial package to get everyone to want to buy that record and listen to that song some more, I want nighttime. I want the ground to be wet like it rained.
Yes.
You know
Might
what
even
I
be
mean?
raining right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure logistically it made a lot more sense to be like, can we just go shoot this morning before we have anything else to do?
Yeah.
But a great example of if the only way you could listen to "Separate Ways" by Journey was by watching that video, you would not like that song as much.
Maybe not so much. Yeah, I haven't seen the whole video, but I do remember.
But you put that audio on at the gym, in the car, in the background of something else, and it's epic. It's crazy.
Totally.
Or if you're playing it live in a cover capacity like I've had to do before, and the singer is really nailing it, the whole crowd is there with you, the stage gets bigger. It's fascinating. The power of it, but you could totally ruin it by putting it in a shitty box.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, because for one thing, if you're busy watching something, you can't really you can, but when you're rocking out, you got to move around. And that's why music is like a fluent kind of artwork where it's not holding you in place. When you're looking at something, it's holding you stationary, right? And that song is such a powerful song that you have no choice but to just ramp around the room and knock things over and just throw your fists up and do push-ups or whatever.
It's like how we talk about with live music and the different tools we use is that, playing guitar through my 3 guitar amps and my wet, dry, wet, super stereo, tube-driven rig is epic. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely like the most ideal version of that experience. And there are some songs like that where they sound better when there's movement and you're feeling the air move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And or you could smell things, or you could, have a physical experience. You're listening differently if you're physically moving, number one.
Yeah.
Can we get that out of the way? Can we get that on the record?
If it depends. I think it depends what genre it is. Like there are some times where, like if you're in a chill lounge with a martini and there's like cocktail waiters and waitresses, and that's like a sit still kind of music. Or there's like even like meditation type sounds where the whole goal is to sit still and just kind of let it pass through you. But like rock and roll is not that.
No, it's
Journey
not.
is not that. That song anyway, specifically.
No,
is not
sure. I mean, there's Journey has some softer stuff, but it's a powerhouse vocal. It's something you're supposed to listen to. That music was made to be actively listened to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're in the stadium and they're there and they're doing it and you're with all the other people and, sometimes that's not ideal. I saw a band, I got seats at Riverport, which is called the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater in this century, I guess. And
It's Riverport.
It's Riverport, baby. Shout out to STL Style on Cherokee. You can get a Riverport t-shirt still, I think.
Tight.
which is sweet. I think
those
I
are
have
good
one.
boys that run that shop.
And that's who introduced me to Drogo, I think, was one of the twins, maybe.
That makes sense. I remember seeing them together.
Yeah. And but Riverport and so seeing like I saw Kiss on their farewell tour there.
Tight.
And things like that. But I've also seen some bands there where you can't get away from the audience and you have to smell them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're outside baking in the sun. And whatnot, but it's all kind of a part of that experience, which is also, I think, a big part of this whole lo-fi hip-hop chill study beat.
I'm so into that. I love that stuff, man.
I think it's because it's, I would so much rather have the mundane parts of my day nurtured with music. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But that music is also for those times where you're by yourself and you're supposed to focus or you're supposed to relax or both.
Yeah.
And,
those lo-fi beats are perfect for that.
Yeah. And there's such a great catalog of them now, and they'll like have themes. Like there's one I put on at work that's called like Abandoned Outpost or something, and it's all like chill, like lo-fi, like but like sci-fi kind of themed like stuff. It's great.
It's like lasers and tasers and stuff.
Sure, lasersandtasers.gov.
Heck yeah.
And so let's talk about that, the sound a little bit before we hear any of it. Is when you were growing up, piano was your first instrument?
What was my first instrument growing up? I did have piano lessons briefly, but I didn't really care. Like I didn't care about anything until I was well into my 20s. So I had piano lessons briefly, wasn't disciplined, didn't really practice outside of like being with the teacher. I also had guitar lessons for a bit with my uncle. I have like a KC95 type uncle, and he plays guitar, and he tried to show me how to play guitar, but I wasn't disciplined or focused or just, I don't know, I just didn't care. And it just didn't stick with me. I got really frustrated, and if I got frustrated with something, it wasn't worth doing. I couldn't wrap my big meaty claws around the neck of the guitar and have the strings do what I wanted them to do.
It's
they would
frustrating.
always run into each other.
Yeah, it requires like some commitment with no payoff, really, kind of early on.
Early on, I suppose, yeah. But I mean, if you're like
early,
Journey or
just
Kiss,
early.
I'd say it paid off for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. But you just trying to like because you may have an attraction to it. But the initial frustration of I can't recreate the thing that's in my head yet is something that I always had to coach students on fighting through. Because it pays off pretty quickly once you can start to. But that first a few weeks or a few lessons or whatever is really hard to get over that hump. So I guess that's more the question then. How did you end up with keytar being your primary instrument now?
It's kind of a boring story. I saw some Devo music videos, and they were like all 5 of them were playing keytars, and I just was like, that looks fun. I could do that. And a keytar, as opposed to a guitar, just requires you to press buttons, as opposed to finagling your hands and contorting your fingers to do these very specific dances to make chords happen, which I still can't do. And with a friggin' piano, you can do that a lot easier because the buttons or the keys are quite wider than the string. So they're a lot bigger, or that is more ideal for my hands. And then, but I still wanted the feel of a guitar because you can be mobile and run around and rock out. And you can rock out. People can rock out on their piano, but you're still like sitting still, right? And that's fine. But I've
also seen
want to run
some
around
band,
and stuff.
The keyboardist had keyboards at different sides of the stage, so he could run back and forth and do different things, but then arrive at a keyboard.
Totally, yeah, that's cool.
But then you need that many keyboards,
right?
But yeah, so that the mobility is a huge thing. I also think there's some keyboard sounds where you could do a whole accompaniment with just one note at a time. You know what I mean? Because of your range of sounds and octaves and whatnot that you could do there. Let me hit pause for just 1 second.
Yeah, do you?
I'm just going to pee real quick so that I can stay focused.
We'll be right back, folks.
We'll be right back. I'm going to leave
potty break
stuff rolling so I can cut it and post.
Someday love will find you, break those chains that bind you. You know I still love you, though we touched and went our separate ways. It's a great song.
And we're back. So I think genre is the main thing I kind of wanted to talk about as far as influences go, from when you decided at any age to start making music of your own. What were some of the... I always feel like my biggest influences are the ones that didn't just make something I liked, but they made me feel like I could make it.
Yeah, okay. The ones
You know
that,
what I mean?
And when I was a kid, it felt like everything that I really liked artistically seemed so out of reach and impossible to achieve. I was a very uninspired kid. Well, I guess I was inspired, but I don't know. I just never really felt like I could do anything with my ideas. But the things that did give me ideas, I guess, shoot. So I had an obsession with like action figures when I was a kid, as opposed to like, you know, healthy obsessions that kids have, like, you know, I don't know, fishing. I guess that's an old school example, like Tom Sawyer style, or like I don't know. These days kids like are obsessed with YouTube, which can be a bad thing, but like they aspire to be YouTubers and they figure it out quite young. But I just like really liked action figures, and it's stupid. But I decided that I wanted to be one and have cool action features and just be as over the top as possible, and like maybe have knives coming out of me and fire coming out of me. And the guitar is an accessory to that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the goal is. And there's a bunch of other toys that I'm cooking up. Like I want to make a flamethrower and all that.
Yeah. So you saw Fury Road?
Yeah. No. I did not see Fury Road. I've seen two Mad Max movies. No, wait. Hold on. Yeah, I've seen two of them. And it was in recent years that I saw them. I saw the very first Mad Max. I actually watched it with Kai during COVID.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had seen that. And then I saw the most recent one in theaters, and it was the one that came after Fury Road.
Okay.
I think that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, and because in Fury Road, there's just this great villain that's like on a rope system playing guitar that shoots flames or whatever.
Yeah, I think I've seen clips of that.
Yeah, and also like I play Pokemon Go every day still for 10 years. And there's Armored Mewtwo, which has like armor with like knives coming out of it.
Legit.
That I love.
Mewtwo's dope.
Yeah, you gotta have that. And so that was my thing too, is like I don't necessarily enjoy their music, but like Gwar.
Gwar is awesome. I also...
And there's some of their music and some of their appearances on like the AV Club and stuff that I really, really like. I just haven't listened to tons of it. But like the theater of it and like...
that's why you go see Gwar.
Yeah.
Is the visual spectacle, and obviously rock and roll as well.
And if rock and roll stopped with CCR and Zeppelin 1, we would have moved on to another art form entirely. The reason I think elements of, you know, what we would call rock and roll still exists is because they're malleable into more theatrical things, whether they're being used in media or the theater itself is centered around the performance. But my wife and I love Ghost, even still. And
I never saw Ghost, and I couldn't tell you any of Ghost's songs.
Yeah, not a big deal, but it's a lot of fun.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Just the idea that, you know, we're making contemporary music, but also in bringing in, you know, some dogma and some lore, and then also elevating it with costumes and performances that are more than just dudes playing songs.
Right.
And so, and then also your experience with the performative wrestling and how that would carry over some. I don't think it's a bad diversification at all in that way. Did I ever get an answer from you, though, about famous artists you enjoyed when you were a younger person?
Oh, yeah. I thought you just meant, like, influences. As far as, like, established artists instead of, like, just things you come across while your time on Earth is going past you. Let's see. I really liked and continue to worship Weird Al Yankovic.
Great example, because there's so much musicality in what he does that on the surface is easy to miss. You know what I mean? Like people, like normal people that just know him from Eat It or something.
Right.
They don't understand like how gifted of a musician he is.
Truly, to be able to master all of those genres.
Yeah.
Because he tackles, like, whatever the song is, he has to, not only him, but his backing band, who he's had originally since the 80s, they have to be like, okay, we're going to be a new wave band today. Okay, no, we're going to be a blues band today. We're going to be a hip-hop situation.
It's like song to song.
Yeah, all on the same album.
Yeah.
So he's...
Or in the same set live. Like, he's toured before. And
he's touring right now.
Yeah, and so we're going to do a White Stripes parody into the Michael Jackson parody, into the hip-hop thing, into, like... and so not just technically being able to pull that off, but to pull that off in a cohesive performance in a way that's enjoyable for an audience is absolutely masterful, and I don't think it gets enough credit because it's comedy, maybe.
That's the thing, man.
It's the same thing.
Can we talk about that for a second?
It's the same thing with Tenacious D. No, there's a lot of cringe associated with Tenacious D.
Cringe? What is that? What is cringe?
Yeah.
What is cringe?
That's a great
Did they do something bad? Did they touch a kid? No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
So what is cringe? Like, I don't think it's cool enough. Is that what cringe is?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Because it's funny, I guess it can't be cool. Like,
right.
Caroline and I were talking about this the other day on the show, that, like, we grew up really loving pop music in a way that we didn't know wasn't cool, but, like, there's elements of Britney Spears' catalog or the Spice Girls that are really formative to me, but, like, you know, it's not cool to talk about those.
What? Ooh, I'm so flustered.
No, because this is...
Forget about cool. Forget about that. What is that? That is so limiting, and it's so pretentious, and it makes me angry.
And it seems like the only way to be cool is to be, like, mysterious and kind of shitty about it.
Yeah, and like, scoff and, like, oh, you like what I do? Like, and just... Like fuck that, man.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean you actually want to talk about the thing that I put all this time and energy into? People call me a dork or, like, a music nerd because I love, like, if you say, oh, your guitar sounds really good, I want to talk to you about everything I did to help the guitar sound good. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to talk to you about cables, and I want to talk to you about, pedals, and I want to talk to you about different things I've tried, and I'm happy to... it would be a real boost for me if people wanted to talk about it. So, but some of the music there, especially when we were, like, teenagers, would have been... I'm 35, for your example. We don't have to tell anybody how old you are, but I'm just pointing out...
Timeless.
Yeah, you're timeless. That the thing was, like, everybody was way cooler than they were versed in their art form or their instrument or whatever, and everybody was worried about, are you learning to play the right kind of stuff, not...
The right kind.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It was like, and I was like, I thought this was rock and roll. I have to conform to the mainstream of rock and roll? What are we talking about?
Man.
You're
not doing it the way that I like that people do, so that means that you're bad. But and
isn't the whole point, like, it all started because everyone's parents hated it? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Isn't that the point?
Uh-huh.
And so if
you want to go out of your way to make something very, like, I don't like the Bare Naked Ladies. I know that's like a very old school example, but I don't like that band. But I find them to be very rock and roll because they are a very plain Jane frickin' cracker band that is not rock and roll. It's so square, but I give them props for that.
Well, and REM was like that. Like REM,
totally, yeah.
REM was not Led Zeppelin.
No.
REM didn't want to be Led Zeppelin.
Very granola.
And REM was in a college town, and they were on college radio.
They're very soft bottom white boy rock and roll type stuff.
They are not trying to break a bottle over your head. They're not trying to steal your girl. They would be very nice to her if she came home with them for an evening, I'm sure.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. I certainly fucking hope so. But yeah, they're not like these like titans of music that like with the arena rock thing, there's so much about it that was fun, but the prevailing sentiment that came forward was, you got to be like aggressive and uber masculine and like big arms and sweaty.
Totally. And then you get like all these bands in the 90s and 2000s
that just do that part.
They're just going to wear their glasses and their little collared shirt and I'm not into any of that stuff, but I give them props for being authentic, I suppose.
Authentic was the word that came up with Caroline too, is that like everyone was looking for who's like the most authentic. But really, the most authentic artist you could think of that anyone would have heard of ever is probably somebody like Wesley Willis.
Absolutely.
Or Daniel Johnston.
Those are, and I don't really love this term, but they're known as outsider artists, right?
Yeah.
So like you're outside of what we're trying to do. You're outside of the norm.
Yeah. But then those are the guys...
It makes them like an other, as people say.
But those are the guys that 40 years later everyone tells you they love. Like at the time that Captain Beefheart was putting out records or Tom Waits was putting out records, nobody was acting like, oh, this is the hot new guy. I love this guy. People were like, okay, he's doing something, but let him do it. And then years later, everyone acts like, oh, that's the best thing ever. And I love Tom Waits.
Yeah, I also love Tom Waits.
Sure. And there's, what was the other thing I mentioned?
Beefheart.
There's some songs, some Captain Beefheart songs that are absolutely formative to who I am as a person. But I don't put it on in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
You could.
But
depends what you're cooking.
So people act like beef.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what if you're making
appropriate.
If you're making a dry martini with gin and you're grilling red meat, you put on Beefheart. That's the only time. The journey became so much about like how cool things were, or the vibe or the aesthetic, and whether or not
how edgy it was,
and how that made other people feel about you. Like people are always so confused by me because I've always been really obsessed with Prince. Like I know
Prince is great.
I know his whole catalog.
Big fat catalog on that guy.
That's the thing too. It's like there's so much of it to discover and re-listen to, and but especially when I was a kid, he wasn't still cool to kids. You know what I mean? Like
by the 90s, I guess because I didn't know who he was in the 90s. I didn't know who he was until I was a teenager.
Yeah, and then he kind of broke back into the mainstream in 2004 with Musicology, and he had a video that was out, and he did a big tour that was the biggest tour that year out of everybody, I think, and whatever. But people were always like, why is that 14-year-old boy obsessed with the guy that did Purple Rain? And because they were just thinking about Purple Rain.
Right.
Number one. And number two, I guess they don't think it's something they would want to do to project that they're really into one specific thing. It got to the point where everyone was like, oh, I don't even really like music. I listen to whatever's on or whatever. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, that is a red flag for sure.
Yeah, like you've given up on caring about the thing I've dedicated my life to. That's crazy, big dog.
Yeah, like if you're just gonna throw on the radio just to have something on and you don't mind the barrage of 40-minute commercial breaks or any of that garbage and just whatever. I don't want to get negative, but yeah.
No, but I'm so glad that you and I kind of have a similar frustration about that. That
throw something on.
Yeah. That like the idea that it's like people hesitate to be honest about stuff that they feel good about because they're afraid other people will think that's not cool or something.
Which is so weak, and that's artists and people who aspire to be artists are often deeply insecure.
Yeah.
And I am no exception. And there is a strain to be accepted when it comes to like finding like the local crowd of people who are all, fancy themselves to be rock stars or artists of whatever, and you find them and they're all kind of like established in their own way, and you want to make yourself palatable to them, right?
Yeah.
And you and I was in my I didn't suffer from any of that anxiety during my teenage years. It didn't hit until like my mid 20s, and I like kind of found myself in the punk scene, and I kind of buckled and was like, oh well, the things that I like are they keep things They think they're stupid, so I should like shift into the things that they like so that I can participate. But the things that they like, I actually think suck. But I want to be among people having a good time.
Yeah.
So I'll pretend like I like Burger Records, garage rock, or math rock, or any of the things that were hot during that time in my life.
That's the when I was first starting out, I really wanted to be around other people that were, playing guitar and writing songs and sharing it with an audience, doing something new. And I had no problem starting off at the Creepy Crawl or playing first out of 10 bands at Pops or something. I had no problem doing that.
Yeah, just cut your teeth with whatever you can get.
No problem. I was certainly happy with that. But then there entered in all this anxiety about, like, are the other guys going to think my guitar amp is cool enough? Or, you're finally in, and then you feel like your insecurity develops amongst these people that are doing the thing you're aspiring to do.
But that is so not rock and roll.
It's not rock and roll at all.
It is so rock and roll to throw all of that to the wind and not give an F.
Not give a shit
and
at
just
all.
walk in there and just drop something that's totally absurd and totally not what they're doing, and you just drop it there and let it stink up the room, baby. Yeah. And they just they just have to sit there with it, man. Yeah. And maybe they'll get into it. Maybe they'll start to but if they don't, that's not your concern.
Yeah, especially because after that time when I first started, the things that became cool were the opposite of that. So my older peers coming up, starting to play music locally, were like the Marshall half stack guys, or like the big classic rock tube amps or whatever. Now, that McGee guy he's playing the preamp on his Tascam. It's his actual guitar sound. It's not a guitar amp at all. And Jack White always had the really cheap Silvertone amps.
Right, yeah.
And things like that
he made it work.
And it became everyone's like, oh, he's a genius because he didn't have a really cool amp. That's my warning that we've hit the hour. I would love to set up to do a performance.
Yeah, I can do that.
Is that cool?
Yeah, totally.
Guys, Jacob V Weekly here live with Poopyknife. We'll be right back.
So you usually do an hour-long episode?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. So the people that know me from just being on the street don't expect, I kind of throw a curveball at them when they actually see me in a proper venue, like a stationary place, because they don't think that I have actual songs. To their credit, I don't have that many as of yet. But yeah, they certainly don't expect when I bust out Addicted to Pee, which is the name of this song. It started subconsciously, my life was going perfectly until I was stung by a bee. It made me crave a bit of pee, a habit formed as you can see. It's taken full control of me, and now I'm addicted to pee. I bump a line of smelly pee and lie there still euphorically. I don't know what's become of me. Without it, I'm in misery. I steal it from my family, and they are all ashamed of me because I'm addicted to pee. LSD and PCP do not compare with doing pee. I shake the mighty pee-pee tree and let the pee-pee fall on me. I take a pee-pee pill at night to help me sleep. It isn't right, I guess. I'm addicted to pee.